I can hear me playing with my volume buttons, and I can hear myself echoing, but I cannot hear you.
How about now?
Yeah. But I'm still getting feedback.
Okay. Well, welcome to the sound check, early arrivals. I was playing around with my sound settings, and I've obviously done something stupid.
Yeah, it's still doing it.
So you're getting feedback somehow. How about now?
Yes.
Right now.
Yeah, it's still hearing it.
Oh. That should fix it.
I think, yeah, it's gone.
I am no sound engineer yet, but I did become a master TikToker in 1 week, so there's a chance. Okay, wait a second. Does this kill my... Can you still hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Okay, good. Okay, so that's not what I wanted to happen. So the problem is that I can hear myself in my ears, and I hate it.
Okay, yeah, all right, interesting.
Yeah, it's really crap. Let me see if I can... Can you hear me?
Yeah.
You can hear me now.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, Google time.
Who's here in the comments? Tie-dye first. Josie, what's happening? Good to see you all. Very punctual, all of you. Better than me. Respect to you all.
Test, yep.
Yep, I'm hearing ya. Loud and clear.
Is it still loud over here?
Speak again, mate.
Oh, testing.
Yeah, there's really no change.
What about here?
You sound less verby when you come closer to the mic.
Test.
Yeah.
I think it's picking up my headset instead of the mic.
Yeah, that might be the problem. You've gone dark now, mate.
Just really need to figure out how to make it so that it doesn't feed back in my ears. It's super annoying.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
How about now? No. How about now? Oh. You can hear me, but you know.
Oh, loud and clear, mate.
How about now? This is so weird. Every damn week. Yeah, but
Ooh, sounds like you're echoing now.
it's not what I want.
Hold on, talk again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of tapering off in the background a little bit.
No. How about now?
Yeah, the echo's gone.
Yeah, when I have it set up perfectly so that it sounds good to you, it feeds back in my ears. But when it's not feedbacking my ears, you can't hear me. Oh. So that's not... How about that? No, that's not going to help.
I think it's fine.
So annoying. You can't hear me right now, can you?
Yeah, I can. I can hear you.
How about now?
Yeah, I can hear you good. Is it still echoing for you?
Yes. Badly. Just wondering. So I have monitor mix muted. It shouldn't be coming out of my ears. And if I mute there, how about now? Can you still hear me?
Yep.
Oh. Wow.
Have you done
We're
it?
done. Yeah.
In the nick of time.
Yep. All right. Let's just listen to State Fair for a minute or two, and then we'll come back. And we'll be with you guys. Thanks for sitting around for the sound check. I hope that was riveting viewing. You got to hear backstage for just a second. Enjoy some more State Fair.
So easy, then I woke up and realized I
West Tigers Faithful, episode 46. My name's Jared Reedy, and before I throw to my co-host, I have this to say to you all. We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning. And you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore, Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. And that is what I'm going to say to you today, West Tigers faithful listeners and West Tigers fans. And to anybody else who's listening today, I know we get a couple of Warriors fans as well. Joe McCord, how are you?
Man, I'm pretty good, eh? It's been an awesome few weeks as a Tigers fan. It's been an awesome few weeks just being me. Blowing up on TikTok, blowing up on the socials, establishing myself as a Tigers influencer, setting up collabs all over the place. And we've got a really cool collab today in case people haven't heard.
Yes, we do, and we actually have one tomorrow as well, but we'll let you know a little bit more about that in the days that follow. But the only place to get that, if you aren't listening to us on the YouTube Live, so if you're Spotify, Apple, Google, YouTube Music, and what have you, please hit the bell, like, subscribe, follow us on every single social media that you have. We guarantee you that we have it. We would appreciate that you do so. I just want to say, Bryce, you are absolutely right. Fuck Trump. But it's a great quote, and it's one that's very, very relevant at the moment as we go to On the Trot. Mac, have I missed anything else there as I go around my various...
I guess there's no reason to hide it. At 5:30, we're going to be joined by, unless they've stitched us up, we're going to be joined by the guys from the On the Ranch North Queensland Cowboys podcast to do a collaborative match preview. So we're going to try to hold the fort and make it interesting for about 30 minutes, then finish off the show with a interesting conversation with some Cowboys fans. And from what I can gather, they're pretty funny, so it should be pretty enjoyable. So stick around for that.
Hell yeah, looking forward to that. But in the meantime, as Brave and Asteroid says on NRL 360, let's get the journos straight in and talk about our news cycle. There's been a couple, but the main one, I think, is probably the fact that Taylor May, by all reports, is going to sit down with the West Tigers hierarchy and finalise a top 30 upgrade and extension. I'm hearing a 2-year deal, the second year potentially in the club's favour, but nonetheless something that had to be done as far as his footballing is concerned, and credit where it is due. Taylor hasn't put a foot wrong ever since he came to the club, mate.
Yep. If you've been following the podcast, you'll know that I wasn't the biggest fan of the idea. But winning's winning, and it's in sport that seems to be all that matters to people. It's just interesting to me how forgiving and how supportive of him the media are, because the media are not supportive of the Tigers generally at all, but when it comes to Taylor May, there's this wave of support, which I'm not criticizing that. I just find it strange because we don't get support from the media at all, but you've got this guy who would be very easy for the media to be hanging us by, and they're not doing it. Makes you wonder. It's just odd to me. But look, he's been playing fantastic. I think he's had 3 wins, 1 loss since he came into the side. So whether it's his presence or Dewey playing 7 or whatever, but something's definitely changed since his arrival at the club, and he's definitely positively impacting us on the field.
Yeah, I agree with you. And when I said that he hasn't put a foot wrong, obviously on the field goes without saying, but off it, I think it's really important. And obviously, he's in a place where he's with his brother. He's got a bunch of guys around the club that he sort of looks up to and respects, in terms of Jerome and Uppy, who spent time with him at Penrith. All of that is really, really important for him to ensure that he has the support and the connection he needs. And I hope that he can continue in his sort of rehabilitative process. He's been pretty candid, I think, about some realizations that he's made, and while in no way, shape or form do I necessarily condone his past actions, and we've been pretty strong on that, At the end of the day, if he's working to take the
Of
right
course.
steps, then well
I
done
agree.
to him, and there's no reason why we shouldn't look to re-sign him.
Yeah, look, I'll be fully transparent. Not many people will know this. I don't even know if you know this, but when I was young, I got diagnosed with psychosis when I was 18. I actually had a very similar experience to the experience that Talon had. My criticism of Talon, stems from the actions that he made in the past. But as it pertains to being able to overcome this stuff, and as it pertains to giving support, like, I am all for it. And to be honest, the vibe I get from him is that he has had a transformation, a very positive one. The experience that Talon talked about, like that he actually, read the New Testament within a week. I mean, I say some pretty weird stuff. It shouldn't come as any surprise that I've got some mental health history of my own, and I've overcome it. So I know that it can happen, and I would be, over the moon if Talon May never puts a foot wrong for the rest of his career and becomes, the role model that I think he can be. And as I said earlier in the year, like, now that we've made the decision, I'll be supportive of him. I am supportive of him. I'm glad that he's on the improve, and I hope he continues to. I hope the club fully actually understand when he says, that he had that experience. Like, it's a very serious experience, and it's an experience that can relapse, and it can happen again and again and again, and he's going to have to be monitored for the rest of his life because of it. So it's not something to take lightly. He might have a breakout year and everything seems good, and then suddenly in the off season he goes to Bali and has a party, and away he goes again. So it's something that needs to really be looked after, and I just hope everybody involved really understands that. What else we got, Jared?
Well, I was actually going to say really quickly around Talon. He and his brother are putting together a podcast which is pretty candid. It's called Mayday. There's some really good insights there, and as a Tigers fan, it's nice to hear what Terrell's saying in terms of them building and what they are building, and what they're sort of feeling within those four walls. Sunea Taruva was on there the other week, and he said a similar thing. But for them to be speaking in such high praise,
It's awesome,
of our club is something we're really excited for. So if you want to go and search that out. But the other big one, and one that probably this time last week you weren't anticipating, Mac, was the Stafford To'a extension, 2-year deal through to the end of 2028. R360 will not be on the table currently for Stafford, nor will the Perth Bears. He will remain a Tiger until the conclusion of that contract, if not longer, depending on what happens from here.
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy about it. I know a lot of people, like, since that announcement, and even when talking about Stafford To'a, were like, good backup to Marcy. It's like, are you kidding me? Like, we're binning Stafford To'a. Like, for the first half of this year, he was on a trajectory that was pretty impressive. And I think, like, our club definitely needs those stalwarts. We need that, like, consistency. We need, the players to come back again for another off season and learn from their, the experiences that they had throughout that year. So, no, I think Stafford To'a was a fantastic re-signing. And yes, I was wrong. But there was a reason that it was the segment last week where we were, like, making hot takes that we thought were a bit far-fetched. But I will add that, in fairness to me, I believe that me doing that forced the universe to collapse one way or the other. It forced the probability waves into form. The universe felt compelled to either prove me wrong or right, and it fell on the right side. So I tricked you once again, universe. Cop that.
I think it's only fair too. Ultimately, we say these things, we put them into the universe to you manipulate it in such a way that, these things go our way. And, mate, what you said right at the top, when talking about, the fact that you couldn't believe, some people ready to throw Stafford in the bin, I couldn't agree more. He was putting up Farnworth level numbers at the beginning of the season. I don't think it's a coincidence that his form really suffered when Lachlan Galvin left the club, because that was a combination that he had built for months and months over pre-season and in the early weeks. Obviously now there is, and we'll get to it a bit later, but there is no one around him anymore, or up until this point. I don't think he'll play this week, even though he's been named. We'll get to that. But I think that, we've seen that he can do it consistently. An elbow injury is a freakish thing. Like, people saying he's injury prone, like, that's just really unlucky. It's a hyperextension. They want to continue for him to play. I really hope they put him on ice, but seriously, we've seen a glimpse of what he can do, and he's only going to improve from here. And he's 25. Like, we've just signed him now for him to come into his best years as a centre. And we're going to benefit from that completely. He is locked down for right centre for at least these next few years, and the left edge is going to be intriguing in terms of who gets what spot. But yeah, I'm really, really bullish on Star these next few years and what he's going to be able to do in black, white, and gold for a little while longer.
Just on Star, I just want to point out, like, I put up this week, every so often over the last few weeks, I've been doing Legendary Tigers moments, and this week's Legendary Tigers moment was the Lilyfield ambush, the great night 2 years ago at Leichhardt when we put 60 past the Cowboys, and it was fitting because while watching those highlights and clipping that up, Stafford, mate, he gave Val Holmes a bath that night, so we know what he's capable of, and good luck to him.
Indeed, my friend, indeed. So moving on. Came out on Saturday, midway through Saturday, that Jack Bird has been told by the club that ultimately he's welcome to stay for 2026, but they won't stand in his way if he finds another deal elsewhere. They won't be extending his contract beyond 2026. For me, that's the typical, look, we don't really want you here. You have a contract and you're welcome to stay, but hey, if you find something better, then good luck. My question isn't necessarily around, like, is this a good thing, is it a bad thing? Jack has had some really good moments at the beginning of the year. I think playing lock probably wasn't for him at this stage in his career. He sort of jumped around a little bit and been a bit of a utility player for us, but in his previous few weeks before, sort of falling back in the New South Wales Cup, he had some moments that he probably would have liked to have had over again. I guess my question is simply, what sort of suitors does he have? Perth's another sort of 18 months away. And England may come calling, but whether or not he goes there is another matter entirely. Obviously, we've seen Ta'a, Staines, they've committed and they've gone over to Super League. But is that something that Jack Bird will do, I guess, is the question. And, can you see him leaving the club?
I reckon Jack Bird will give it up. I think there's only really two ways this goes for Jack. Either he's going to dig his heels in and see out his contract, sit down with the club and be like, mate, I haven't got really too many other offers on the table, so I'd prefer to stick around. And to be honest, there was something Jack said earlier in the year. It was on a Fox interview. When they were talking about him getting signed by the club, and it's like, oh, you must have had other offers on the table. And he said something like, what, from like the Gundagai Panthers? Like, I don't know what country football team that he mentioned, but he took a piss out of himself, something chronic. Like, but it also sort of gave away that there wasn't really anything else out there for him. And it's not like Jack's done all that much this year to like satiate a market. So stimulate a market I don't know what satiate even means. Stimulate a market. So like from that perspective, like, it's going to be a matter of whether Jack has it in him to like stick around and keep working at it week after week after week. I don't know if he does. Jack's the sort of bloke who I could see just being like, I'll just go back to I'll go to the country and, be captain coach of the Grafton Ghosts and work at the pub. Like, I don't know, just reading the tea leaves stuff. I don't really think Jack Bird's going to exactly go get a contract. I don't even know if ESL would be all that interested in him, to be honest. And I'm not 100% sure that he'd be interested in going there. So I
can work out what position he'd play over in Super League. Like,
they'd probably make him a 6 or something. He'd probably go to a struggling club and be a 6. And to be honest, at this point in his career, like, it's probably not the worst position for him in ESL 6, because like in the ESL, like you've got guys like Bevan French, like 6s like to run. It's a running halves league, but they're not as athletic as the NRL's halves. So he could go over there and be a decent 6 probably. I don't know if he'd want him. I don't know if he'd want to be in the pack with the Northern English forwards, the way that they breed the forwards over there, and yeah, I think he's a liability at centre. So yeah, it's hard to say. But anyway, good luck to Jack. I mean, it seems to me like based on some of the signings, the fact that we now have 7 development squad members and stuff like that, that Richo's doing some pretty interesting roster building at the moment. So I think what's going to happen is Jack Bird's going to be leaving the club one way or the other. It might result in us paying him out or something, but it doesn't seem like he's going to be with us in 2026.
I can definitely see that happening should the club get desperate. But yeah, I'm really curious to see how this scenario plays out. I don't see it like a Jaden Sullivan or a John Bateman where it's like, oh my God, he's on a ridiculously inflated contract. We have to get him out now. But yeah, we'll see what transpires. And there was a similar thing about Royce Hunt published by All Out Rugby League. So I would keep an eye on both those guys and whether or not we're going to keep them around. But in the meantime, I want to segue to Journo Watch. These 2 quotes, both from Greg Alexander. I want you to try and tell me, Mac, which club he was playing for at what time. So listen to this. I don't think there's been a player as much maligned as Luke Brooks over the last 10 years. He came into the game in 2013 with very high expectations and almost delivered. That's the first quote. The second quote is, Luke Brooks may as well not play. I'm serious because he offers nothing. What colour jersey do you think he was wearing when the quote saying that Luke offers nothing? What club do you think he was playing for at that time?
Well, let's throw it to the fans because I know the answer. But I think it's pretty obvious. Yeah, isn't it ridiculous? Like the way that the rhetoric changes when the Tigers are the bad guys versus another club. Like it's just ridiculous. But yeah, I think we're used to it at the moment. And you know what? I think that the players are actually like responding to it in a positive way. I think that the players are starting to gel and coalesce around this identity, this COD thing. There's a bit of fuck you in the culture of the players at the moment. So I kind of don't mind the media kind of continuing to ambush us the way that they do. When they're doing it while we're winning, it's kind of fun. Like when they're doing it while we're winning, it's fun. When they're doing it while we're losing, it just feels like them sticking the freaking knife in. So as long as the boys are responding to it well and winning games and giving the fans the COD. Sorry. I think it's all right. But at the same time, I reckon we need to make this Journo Watch segment a segment every week because I feel like we should keep a leaderboard. We should do like a daily M's of journos. We should be doing like a, hey, yeah, my daughter just rocked up and decided to just like start distracting me. We should be doing like a daily M of journos, except in reverse. You give them like a 3-2-1. I think Buzz would be winning this year so far, to be honest.
I don't know. I reckon. What are we ranking them for?
No, I mean he'd be winning in the sense that he has the fewest points. He's killing it.
Buzz. I love Buzz. He has been unreal, and the way that he's stirring the pot with a lot of these Canterbury fans, the same way that I am trying to do on X, follow us if you haven't already, has been awesome. Yeah, look, it was a disappointing one from Brandy. And the thing is, like, I'll actually defend Brooksy here. He played with his tail up, and he's played the exact same way since he came into grade. The difference is he's at a different club, out of the spotlight, and wearing a different number on the back of his jersey. He is exactly what he was when he came into grade. He hasn't developed from that point onwards, which is amazing to think of what he was like when he was 18. But that's Brooksy. But to say that he may as well not be there, I think is ridiculous. And you compare, the rocks and diamonds of one Daily Cherry Evans last week. Brooksy was the steady hand, and the shot that he put on Tony Sukkar, that was pretty good too. But I'm glad that he was on the losing side, and we will talk about that immediately. West Tigers, at their happy hunting ground of Allianz Stadium, beat the Manly Sea Eagles 26-12. Outside of minute 0 and minute 78, so basically a 77, 76-minute period, we were the dominant team. We were far better. Our forward pack absolutely smashed them. Our halves were smarter, they were steadier. It was a comprehensive victory, and one that reminded me personally of the game that we played against Newcastle in Newcastle at the beginning of the year, albeit a little bit more polished and a little bit classier, but just a game in which our opposition were just not at the races at all.
Well, I think that you predicted a loss. I predicted a win.
I did. Egg on my face.
So I think my prediction was pretty much built around the fact that the Manly forwards just were not going to aim up, and they had a weak forward pack. And based on the loss last time and the forwards would rock in with a bit of a different attitude. And you mentioned the likes of Turbo and that as points of difference that they had. I think Turbo is done as a player, to be honest. I think he's a defensive liability. I think that he's athletically no longer really a threat. And them losing Ruben Garrick early, I think, really helped us because he's a very important player for them. But that said, it was a good win. It was an easy win, and I don't think that they played very good, if I'm being honest. I think that they had a very, very good attitude. They looked confident. They were running plays, but it was certainly far from clinical. I think that sort of was a really good wake-up call. And I think you saw on NRL 360 last night, Reedy, was singing our praises and predicted us for the top 8 next year. That did look like the performance of a top 8 team, kind of just not even having to get out of second gear, which was very, very exciting. I think that coming out of the Bulldogs game, one of my thoughts was whether it meant anything, whether the emotion of the performance was all that mattered there, or whether there was actually some turning point. They look like a different team. Coming out of that Bulldogs win, the amount of confidence it seems to have given them, the amount of belief, and also, just then having the bye week to really work on the Dewey combination and figure out who's doing what. It seems like that they're a different force. It's a shame that they've left their run so late. And welcome to the On the Ranch guys. They're in backstage now, ready to jump on. So when we get to the match preview, we'll bring them on as well to talk about the Cowboys game.
Yes, indeed, but a little while to go. I just want to talk about the fact that you said the attack was clunky, and I absolutely agree with you, but I'm not actually going to really point fingers and blame people too much. Ultimately, that right edge through injury, blokes leaving the club and sort of switching around for combinations. So, for example, Taylor May and Taruva have played a lot of lower grade footy together. It makes sense to put them together. Has meant that right edge has no cohesion and no structure because ultimately everybody is different, with the exception of Stafford To'a. But the players around him, as I mentioned earlier,
and he got hurt,
are completely different. Whereas you switch it to the left edge, and obviously Taylor scored off that absolutely gorgeous pass off Jerome Luai. Sunia Taruva scored off a sweeping backline movement where Api Coruscant was playing fullback. And they looked very, very dangerous down that edge. Whereas the right edge was a gorgeous cutout pass from Dewey to hit To'a off a very, very basic structure, might I add. And then Dewey was hot potato to score that first try. So it's one of those things where I'm not particularly bothered. It's great if they score points, and if they don't, I kind of understand why. But what Benji Marshall said, I think it was post-game, saying that he learnt so much about, what this team was in terms of its identity and its preparation and how to get them up every single week and, how to get those games right after the Bulldogs game and then putting it into practice again. I'm really, really bullish and excited now. It's, it's awesome. And the biggest thing as well, looking to the future, is that every single player that played on the weekend, as far as we know, is contracted for next year. They're only adding on top of it. They're only improving the team further. This gives us a month's head start on next year, which is something that we very, very rarely get at West Tigers, which is amazing news for us. And yeah, it makes me very, very excited.
Yeah, me too. I think that's definitely a key takeaway here, is that it genuinely does look like we're building. The guys seem like that they're really glue. You know, there's a lot of connectivity, connectivity to the coach. The coach is connected to the captains. It seems like now with the extension of Dewey, that seems to have just really also, just added another dimension of security, I want to say, to this whole situation. We know that we're going to go into the off season and Benji's going to give Latu Fainu every chance to take the 7 jersey away. But if we have to, we can go with Dewey and we can win some games, and we might even be able to make the finals with Adam Dewey. So there's not all that pressure on Latu. It's good for Latu because it means that he's not going to have to have it hanging over his head that if he doesn't have a great off season, or if he even the idea that, like, if I get injured, the season's screwed. Like, that sort of stuff might play on the mind of a young fella, but not really going to be the problem. And I was also really happy with the performance of Terrell May on the weekend. He looked like a middle forward. He wasn't. He was still doing a little bit of ball playing and a little bit of, like, 2 hands on the ball stuff, but also taking a lot harder carries. He was running through contact and he was, like, banging and barging into people, and he looked bigger. I don't know if it's just that the Manly pack are a little bit malnourished or something, but Terrell looked like a different human being on the weekend. Maybe he didn't have a 48-hour fast for a change.
He's also grown another leg ever since his brother's come into the side, but I know that we're running out of time on this review. I just want to, like, in terms of 3-2-1s, there is a player, one guy that I don't think I've seen really get the accolades that he's deserved for his performance last week was Api Coruscant. I thought it was a genuine captain's knock. If you have a look at some of the effort plays that he comes up with that was so crucial to this win. There was the grubber kick from Dewey that Waddell caught. Appy dragged him back into the in goal. What happens next set? Dewey scores. We go 6-all. Ethan Bullimore takes his first hit up coming on 15-16 minutes into the game. Trying to shift momentum with his leg speed and his impact. What happens? Appy absolutely whacks him. Ball comes free. We go back on the attack. It completely shifted momentum. Cherry Evans puts in that chip and chase. Who's back to clean it up? Appy Coruscant. He should have had a try assist off that marginal pass. I've seen far worse be let go, both against us and for us, to Latu Fainu, but had a wonderful try involvement, sort of playing left edge fullback at one point for Sania Taruva's try. I thought he kicked well. We've got our hang-ups around Uppy in his defence, but, for what you lack sometimes through the middle, in the sort of tackle-to-tackle grind, you get it on clean-up work and effort plays like the ones that he produced on the weekend. So for me, 3 points all day. I think that Uppy's my guy there.
He was my man of the match tip. So
yeah, well, there you go. There you have it. Well, I'm really preaching to the choir at the moment. I was more than happy.
I didn't have him man of the match. He was my man of the match tip from last week.
Oh yeah, but that's my point. Nonetheless, my 2 points, Sione Fainu. Think he's doing a phenomenal job on that right edge. I've got egg on my face about that as well. I didn't think he was up for it. He's really doing very well. And 1 point goes to Taylor May. He was unstoppable on that edge.
Yeah, my 3-2-1-3 was Taylor May. I think Taylor May was giving Manly a bath. The try he scored broke the back of the game. He wasn't maybe as influential overall as some other players, but he didn't put a foot wrong in attack or defence. So my 3 goes to him, 2 to Adam Dewey. I thought Adam Dewey was, again, in the first half especially, like pretty much the best half on the field, potentially the best player on the field in the first half, and I give 1 point to Terrell May. I also want to give a shout out to Sunia Taruva and Jareem Buller. I just think that the class that those two bring to our backline is so important. The difference between when Jareem's in the side versus when he's out is night and day. And Taruva, in terms of his carries out of his own end, and in terms of just being able to, like, beat the first man or get to his front, is just super, super impressive and super, super important. And that's it. Let's move on to the match preview. Let's get these guys on stream. Let's get them up. They are ready to come online. Give us a second and we'll get them on live. Here's the boys. How you going, lads? You are live. Can you hear us?
Can you guys talking?
It's all good. We'll get it.
In the meantime, should I just give a top line preview?
Well, what we're going to do with these guys is basically ask them some questions, about the Cowboys, because obviously they'll have insight that we don't have about, the ins and outs and where things are at with the Cowboys. Give them a chance to ask us similar questions, and then just do sort of a regular preview aside from that. Are you guys good? Can you hear us? Can't hear you. Yeah, just throw ready and we'll let them troubleshoot. Just pick it up.
Easy as. Okay, so Sunday 4 o'clock at what I assume will be a packed out Leichhardt Oval. Sunday 4 o'clock time slot. We will be playing the Cowboys. Tigers team news, unchanged side despite what we thought was Stafford To'a's.
Yeah, gotcha.
Has an injury. The boys are ready.
Yeah, I can hear him now.
From what I can see, the Cows have an unnamed side as well. But now that their microphones are working, I'm going to throw to the OTR boys. Lads, how are we?
Hello, you guys there? They might still think they're backstage, eh? Let's just send them a chat message in the studio chat, see if that wakes them up.
All right. They're coming back.
Oh, is that what they said?
Back in effect.
We'll trim this for the replay version. This whole piece will get edited out.
Easy sorted.
Just stick with this team. It'll be worth it. The joys of live streaming and trying to do something brand new for the fans for the first time ever. I actually heard them there for a second. I wonder what happened.
I don't know.
Can you imagine if it's just like an elaborate troll? They're like, yeah, we'll show them what West Tigers faithful, and then just sit there.
Love it.
Did they just say that they were going to come back in the live chat? Did they? I didn't see that.
I'd say so.
Slower than babe. They have a pretty sick looking setup there, eh?
Yeah, it looks unreal. Puts ours to shame.
Up there in yours. Look, I've got. Well, let's do Q&A while we wait. How about that? Okay. Anybody got any questions in the chat for us while we wait for the On the Ranch boys to come back and figure out their tech issues? Let's see if there was anything already. Yeah, mate, go grab another schooner. You'll be right. We have this is pretty. If Sar's out, who do you replace him with? Well, on the extended bench we have Brent Naden and Luke Lololii. So I don't know, I think probably Naden. Brady.
Maps is there too. Yeah, I'd probably go Naden. I'd reward him. You there, boys?
We are here.
Oh, hey.
Hey, look at that. Technical difficulties.
Yeah,
That's all good. It's all good.
The best for us. For those of you listening on Spotify, Apple, YouTube Music, and the rest, the On the Ranch boys have joined us after some pretty glaring technical difficulties, but we are back and ready to go. Lads, how are we?
Sensational, mate.
That's the way.
Let's just do some quick introductions. So we've got Rob, You want to stick your hand up, Rob? Rob's a little bit off camera for me, but hopefully everybody else can see him. We've got Morgan and Bill.
Yeah.
Did Pete show up, guys?
Yeah,
Pistols
Easy,
made
Hey,
it.
there's Pete. Pete's referred to as an enigma, so I expect most of the best banter to come from Pete.
I thought I might have heard loose unit / loose cannon at one point as well.
We can't launch a rocket up here either, so tech support's a bit difficult up in the northern sticks.
Thanks so much for joining us, guys. So, as I was explaining to Rudy, my plan here is basically to give you guys some time to tell West Tigers fans a little bit about what's happening at the Cowboys this year, because obviously, our focus is so much on our club. We don't really know what's going on. I know that, you guys have an ex-Tiger and Todd Payton there as the coach. There's so much history between the two clubs. I thought it'd be a pretty cool collaboration. And then, obviously, as we discussed, we'll send you over the audio file for your own audience too. So if you have any questions for us about what's happening at the Tigers, any of our young players, how we're feeling about the situation, does that sound good to you guys?
Sweet as.
Yeah.
Awesome. Jared, over to you.
Beautiful. Well, lads, obviously a very, very Cowboys-focused podcast, as you can tell with the name and the like. How long have you lads been doing it? And is it a very Cowboys-centric potty, or do you sort of talk about a bit of everything, bit of NRL and other sports, or what do you do?
We started around 2019, I want to say, somewhere around there. And it was a general Queensland podcast, Cowboys focused to begin with, but Pete and I are sort of fans of just about every sport imaginable except wrestling. Well, he likes wrestling, but I don't.
I'm a pretty big fan of wrestling myself.
Yeah, I won't hold it against you.
What did you think of the Cena heel turn?
Yeah, not very good, to be honest, actually.
Right.
He's back.
Yeah. Anyway, so then it's sort of evolved from there. So we've just gone from recording in his lounge room or his theatre room with one microphone to the mess of cables and rubbish you can see on the table now, and full setup. So now there's four of us. We got Billy, who's just outside. Smash our data.
I think coaching his lungs is a scientific term.
We hope it's a dart at least.
Yeah, and he does the video now for us, or basically sorts that out for us, and we're just the talent, if you could call us that. But yeah, we mostly focus on the Cowboys now, just a preview review type thing, and then we just do a few things on the side, just talk crap really. But
We got some segments.
there's a few different segments there. Yeah.
And segments are key ultimately to the evolution and growth of the podcast. Obviously, well, therefore, we may as well stick to your bread and butter and the Cows. And I feel like our two teams are inherently tied to one another. Obviously, the 05 Grand Final, sorry to bring it up, but also your head coach is a former player of ours. We've played some absolutely fucking crazy games amongst each other in regular season matches these past few years. So,
Bobby Farah getting stuck in Anthony Watts in the scrum. That was one of my favourites.
That was good.
That was good.
Like, you guys beating a 74 blot, like the game at Leichhardt last year with the Justin Olam sent off, the game we beat you by 60 in 2023. Like, there are so many crazy
Soft
games.
soft whistle.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The Felty.
You're not Felty fans, I'm sure of that.
No.
but-
Oh, no. But
One
that's
of the questions that somebody asked on our X account, because I put up an X, like, what questions do you want to ask the boys? One of them was, how much of a C-bomb do they think Kyle Felt is? So, yeah, that sort of puts that.
How much
Champion.
do we think?
A champion.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
champ.
that's what
Oh,
they
yeah,
wanted
he'd
me
be-
to ask.
he'd be very well loved up in Townsville. But boys, obviously, you guys have, from sort of 22 onwards, you just sort of gone in and out of the finals. This year, it kind of feels like the writing's on the wall from our perspective a little bit with Toddy Payton. Where's your head at?
We're up in the air. I don't think any of us have committed to anything, as in nothing solid in our minds as to what's going to happen. We have a few theories because we've had a few
Arrivals.
arrivals at the airport,
At
that have been spotted. So we've thought, maybe could happen, that could happen. It's been a tough year for Toddy. We've lost a lot of talent last year, a lot of experience. Val Holmes, Chad Townsend, however you rate Chad, he was experienced.
Absolutely.
And Felty, of course, and you're talking 200 gamers and sort of that ilk.
Jake Granville.
Jake Granville, of course, yeah. So it's just an amazing amount of talent and amazing amount of experience there, just completely gone. So it's a very young team in sort of in that way. Then you look at our string of injuries this year. It's not quite Rabbitohs level, but it's not far behind it.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of halfback changes at the start of the year, which didn't quite work, and the combos have been nearly every week has been a combo change somewhere in the backs, forwards. Taumaloa was missing for how many games there, and now we're missing Cohen Hess.
Yeah.
So that sort of, any kind of shake-up like that messes any team up, as you guys know as well as well.
Oh, yes.
So,
Yeah.
So it's a tough year, and I would hope that the board. He hasn't got the full backing of the board yet, but Toddy Payton is. I think they're going to stick with him. Personally, I think they'll stick with him for one more year at least. I mean, that's his standard contract anyway, and then we'll see what happens after that. Maybe one of the airport arrival coaches will take over from there.
Who are you talking about? who was spotted at the airport?
I don't want to give too much away.
Oh, is it a bit? Did you get some inside tips from the sushi chef at the airport or something?
Not quite that. We've got a couple of insiders who sort of feed us information from time to time. So
okay, fair enough.
Whether or not, like, if we actually name names, whether or not that gives it away, but. He was an assistant coach at the Sharks and
Favourite son.
and ex-Cowboy and Queensland State of Origin assistant coach.
Pretty good kicker too.
Very good kicker.
Yeah, right.
And a 2005 grand final try scorer.
Yes. So that's a name that's been spotted at the airport and floated around and could be taking over. But I don't think anything's going to happen till the end of the year. We won't know what's going on. So.
Fair enough. Boys, looking at the squad, I think that what the Cowboys have done well for the last couple of years is really build their depth through the roster. A lot of guys that are genuine first graders that can do a job. Now, obviously, he's mentioned injuries, and there was a lot of experience that came out of the door, sort of went out the door last year. But it's something that I think, you guys can really pride yourselves on. And then on top of that, obviously, the junior base of FNQ that you guys tap into quite obviously because you run it. I guess sort of looking at the squad, there's a lot of talent already locked in for 26. We don't know sort of too much about the Cowboys. Where's your cap at? Where do you identify the weaknesses in the squad, and what do you think you guys need moving forward?
Well, we haven't really gone out to the market for recruitment either, other than Reid Marnie, because Robbo's obviously leaving. There's a lot of, as you just mentioned, a lot of talent up here that they're not trialled. Like Tom Duffy's leaving us at the end of the year, and people go, how do you get, there's no halves on the open market available. Well, how do you become a half without having experience, So unfortunately, you can only fit 17 onto the field at one time, and there is a lot of base up here. Like we're a region club, not just a one-town club. So similar to you guys, like you're Wests, you're not just Balmain or all western suburbs. So you've got a bit of region there as well, unlike someone like the Roosters, who are proverbial buyers of players and talent. It's going to be interesting times. Like we've unlocked Jackson Purdue this year. He's actually a half playing centre, so I wouldn't have mind seeing him actually drift back to fullback and put Drinky in at 6 for those periods of throughout the year. But hindsight's a great thing. It's going to be exciting times, and we haven't lived up to the expectation this year, but as Rob touched on before, there's been so much soft tissue damage, injuries in this team. I can't remember the last time we played the same 17 in a row for the whole season, for that matter. So when you have that incontinuity, it's always going to be a hard ask. And so everyone just looks at the coach, sack Payton because he's not getting the results. Well, when you can't field the same 17 more than twice in a row for the whole year, it's not going to be the greatest. But moving forward, there's people coming through, but again, they're also kids. You look at your instance with Lockie Galvin. He's the big prodigy and the next big thing. He's 19, and obviously, he left you guys for something else. But what happened to having the bloke in Q Cup or New South Wales Cup that is now 24, 25-year-old that has plied his trade? No one wants to do that. They just want to get the latest sensation in, and oh well, you didn't survive, so you're out. Look at Lockie Ilias from Souths and Dragons now. Like, how has he not gotten a start is beyond me. But it's always up in the air.
Yeah, it certainly makes you wonder. Obviously, as you say, there's some guys sort of coming through and sort of poking their heads through. Obviously, Jackson's the latest breakout star out of your system, but give us some names that you guys are pretty high on. Sort of getting around for the Blackhawks or the Northern Pride. I really like what Marley Bitagane's doing as a young middle in Q Cup. Nicholas Lanaz is another one. I've always liked the look of Jamal Shibasaki. I'm not sure what his contract status is for next year, but who are you guys really bullish on?
Who's Caden Lars? He's played a handful this year. He's got a bit of no nonsense. I'd like to see Tom McHaley get more of a run. He's a bit more of a journeyman stalwart, but he's been biding his time. And we're going to lose Jordan McLean at the end of this year, so there's a spot opening up in the front row for that. And Griffin Neems seemed to find a lot of good form towards the back end of this season until he's done his shoulder the other week. So hopefully with the return of him, and then like you touched on Nicholas Benez, he's going to be something as well. He, from a bartender pouring beers to you're playing first grade against who did we play the other week when he debuted?
It was Para, wasn't it?
Eels, yeah, Para.
Eels.
Yeah, so there's those sort of guys coming through, but until you get that, you need to have that benchmark. You can't just make a cake out of icing, and unfortunately, we haven't had the cake base this year to provide. We're a massive different team when Tamalolo plays, no matter what people say about him. And watching his minutes the other day, and also the other week coming back against the Eels, he's a big difference to the club, and so he can carry those younger players through. At the moment, it's those younger players trying to do it on their own. So,
or we'll get like a youngster in like Derby, and then he'll do his knee or something. So he plays a handful of games, and then his whole development sort of gets stalled a bit as well.
Yeah, which really stings amongst young players for sure.
Do you guys struggle with young players when they get brought through having their eye on the big smoke? Like, is that a thing that happens a fair bit? Like, young guys sort of get developed and then they want to move to the city, move to Brisbane, move to Sydney, or is that not such a thing? It seems from our perspective to be a thing that seems to happen a little bit.
No, we've got Magka up here, so.
Yeah, we got.
I don't think I want to head down to Sydney, do I?
No.
Well, I'm actually in Brisbane, so I'm actually a Queenslander myself. So it's I'm not all the way in the big smoke.
It's probably 50-50. There's a lot of players who want to stay here and make a career out of being a Cowboy. Tom Dearden, obviously, Jackson Purdue, they're all locals. Jake Clifford's from just down the road. So Felty, of course, is a local. So a lot of juniors, I think they want to stay because they've grown up supporting the Cowboys. We've sort of got enough of a heritage now where, we're in our 30th year. So the kids coming through now have actually been watching the Cowboys their whole life. So maybe they want to play for us.
Even players that have come to the club, like you look at Jordan McLean, like he came here on a 3-year contract and has stayed for 10.
Yeah.
Griff Neems come from over New Zealand. He's pretty much a North Queensland local. Like it's a lifestyle that this club can offer a lot of those players. Like the big smoke, like you look down in Sydney or Brisbane, as you'd both be aware that, and Toddy Pate mentioned this the other year when he was on, that we may not pay overs for players, but we're going to pay them what they're worth, and also a lifestyle. Like you can go down the beach on a Saturday morning, go and have a mate's barbecue that afternoon, go and have a drink somewhere else that night, and do it all. Whereas if you're down in Sydney or Brisbane, you're picking one of those things, and that's all you're doing because of the commute, transport, and the hustle and bustle of the big smoke. And so it's more of a laid back, she'll be right attitude, and I suppose that fits the personality of the player. If they like it up here and they only want to travel 15 minutes to training instead of an hour and a half.
You wait for the media a bit too. I saw Maz Talung came up the other day. He was just wandering through. No one was bothering him or pestering him or anything like that.
That certainly helps. Yeah. Lads, is there anything you guys want to know or your listeners might want to know about the Tigers? I mean, we don't know everything, but we'll try at least to answer your question.
sold to you guys on Luai because he was obviously a big signing for you in the off season, and I've got a couple of Tiger friends, and they're like, why are we getting that waste of time for? I reckon he's a gun for you guys. And
Well, did you like him before he joined?
yeah, did you like him at Penrith before he
And all of a
came
sudden,
on?
did you rush out and buy some Luai jerseys?
We've got differing viewpoints. Matt can go first.
Well, I'm not sold on him. I think I like him better as a 6. I think that he's played a lot better since Adam Dewey has taken a leading hand as a 7. I don't think Lachlan Galvin is a very good 7, as we're starting to see at the Bulldogs. So it's kind of taken putting Adam Dewey in the 7 jersey to start seeing the best of Jerome Luai, which lo and behold is in the position that he played, 4 grand finals in and played for New South Wales in. Obviously, we wanted to make him Batman. He wanted to be Batman, but it doesn't seem to be the case. I think his best games of the season have been in the last few weeks, so the signs are promising. I think what a lot of people think about Jerome Luai is the value that he's brought is mostly in terms of the off the field stuff, the culture, the way he is around training, just driving standards. And I think he's a really good conduit between the coach and the younger players too. So he's brought a lot of good stuff. There's no questioning that he's had a positive impact on the club. But in terms of on-field results, you can't really argue with the fact that he's got barely any try assists, and we've signed him on $1.2 million. So in terms of delivering value for money, I'm not sold.
For me personally, I think that his creative output in terms of try involvements I think he's sort of been a victim of circumstance and his desire to be so team-oriented. I think that he was more than happy to play second fiddle to Galvin to appease, Lachlan at the time, and obviously what the coaching staff wanted to do and what they had built in the years previous. And as a result, he was sort of jumping around, sort of playing a lot of 7 in a role that didn't really suit him. You are finding now with Latu Fainu and Adam Dewey to, being able to be the pass before the pass guys, and then Jerome, being able to make decisions outside of the 3-man or the 4-man and play footy off the back of that he's really found his place in the side. Obviously, his leadership characteristics and, the players that he's had a massive role in bringing to the club, and the overall outlook of the club, has changed entirely. I don't think we get Terrell May. I don't think we get Tito Taruva without him, and the players that will continue to come. I think, Jerome's going to be front and centre of that. But there was one part of the question that Mac missed was about, did we like him before? I think when he first came into grade, he absolutely had a chip on his shoulder, and I think he pissed everybody off except Penrith players. But I love a bit of ego in sport. It's why I like Latrell a lot in terms of, we need heels. And
he's a young fella.
And we need faces. And, for Romy, I've always liked that about him and that confidence. But also the way that he's grown and evolved as a character throughout, his time in rugby league is something that I actually really like. And I think he's really evolving into a leader and also a man. So I'm very glad he's black, gold and white.
I think that's a good point. I think Jerome's somebody who, while it may not have happened fast, has sort of changed. The Jerome Luai when he was 22 is not the same guy you see now. He's definitely a lot chiller. He's taken on a leadership role. I think there's a little bit of imposter syndrome I can still sort of pick up in some of the ways that he is. I don't think he's quite fully comfortable in that role as being a grown-ass leader of men, but he's certainly trying very hard. And for our club, it's working very well, and he hasn't really put a foot wrong from a leadership perspective. And what's most important for us is he backs the coach. He does not waver in his resolve when it comes to supporting the things that Benji Marshall says, what Benji Marshall wants. He played, as Jared said, he played a second fiddle to a bloody 19-year-old at the request of the coach. That's for a guy who supposedly has a pretty large ego. I think that says a lot about what he's willing to do for the team.
You talk about the team, how you've had, look, you don't want to rub it in, but 3 wooden spoons in a row.
That's okay.
No, is this what it is?
From an outside perspective looking in, and my brother-in-law, he's a Tigers fan as well, but just having a board of directors where you've got West and Balmain, it seems like you're at each other instead of being able to get on the same page. What's the fallout since when you don't have Justin Pascoe or Lee Hajipatelis anymore? Has the vibe changed a lot more down there? And obviously results on the field speak for it. You're compared to the last 3 years, you're having your best year in the last 10, really.
Most wins since 2019 so far, and we could potentially get more than 2018 if we're lucky. But from my perspective, yeah, well, it's been since 2011 is the last time we played the finals. Would you believe it's been 14 years, 15 years? The vibe has changed a lot. I think, like, from the outside, people don't realise Balmain don't really have all that much to do with things anymore. In terms of the administration of the company that owns the Tigers, it's pretty much West rebranded into what's called the Holman Barnes Group. There's a couple of board members that get sort of given to the Balmain side of the group. Up until last year, they were kind of a little bit of a rogue element, but they kind of got both booted off the board and replaced by guys that I think fell in line a little bit more. So there hasn't really been too much board upheaval. Like, if you listen to this podcast, I hang shit on the Tigers ownership pretty much as a sport, like, every week. Like, it's something I don't really think that the Tigers ownership group still really have the best interests of the on-field performances of the club at heart. Something that you guys might not know, the Tigers have received the lowest amount of funding from any team that's owned by leagues clubs, and that leagues club are profitable, $9 million in profit. So they're not really investing all that much into the on-field performances. But in terms of, like, administration, putting Shane Richardson in as the CEO, and they've kind of really distanced themselves from the football operation. It's pretty much Shane Richardson gets what he wants at the moment, and that's, I think, why we're starting to see results. They're not really intervening so much. I think when Lee was around, Lee and Justin, what we see from Lee Hadjipantelis and Justin Pascoe is that they must have developed a really solid working friendship, because they're still doing business and stuff together. So I think that Lee being the chairman and Justin being the CEO kind of is what was creating this, like, influence in the football operation that was actually coming from the board that's no longer there. So I'm not a big fan of the owners, but what I do like is that they've stopped meddling.
Yeah, long story short, we replaced a divorce lawyer and a CEO from AFL with a bloke that's taken teams from the shithouse to the penthouse, and a former state premier as our chairman who knows everybody at the top end of town. We've installed some independent directors that have diluted the ownership's influence, which has helped us heaps. So yeah, it feels really, really different. But they've also been extremely transparent. The club's strategy for the next 3 years is readily accessible on their website. Richardson isn't like Pascoe or Hadjipantelis in the sense of, he'll pick up every single phone call, but you can speak to him if you choose to. And yeah, so you are really seeing a change from that.
I found his phone number and texted him, and he replied to me.
How good.
So,
What did you say?
So
I asked him to come on the podcast, and he told me to go screw myself, but he did reply.
I think that's a reply.
Text him again.
but yeah, much different.
It does look a lot different. Like, the Tigers playbook for years gone by is, righto, you've had another shit year, let's sack the coach. And I think at one stage you were paying Jason Taylor, Mick Potter, someone else. You probably had four coaches on the books. Like, just, guys, get in the one direction. And it looks like that's what's happening nowadays, which is good, because you want a healthy league. You don't just want to see Storm, Penrith and Roosters always at the top. So
100.
Absolutely.
I take it you're fully in on Benji.
Up and down all year for me. Jared's been a little bit more steadfast in his love.
Yeah, got a lot of admiration for him. I think he's a bit insane for taking on the job when he did, but nonetheless, his self-belief and his ego, to a lesser extent, I think have really helped him. I think that he's right in the sweet spot in terms of, a lot of the playing group or cohort amongst the entire league. Grew up watching Benji Marshall. He was a big part of their formative years, and he did things differently, and I think that really helps. He is the only Polynesian coach in the entire league, and I think he does a lot of things well. I think that his coaching philosophies around the way that he wants to attack, obviously around culture and players, expressing themselves in the way that they want to be, and in terms of unapologetically being themselves. I think that's all brilliant. I just hope that, for the love of God, he does not sabotage himself by not recognising his weak points and strengthening him around them. And for that, mainly, it's around his assistant coaches. I really hope that he looks into where his flaws are and he builds them up, because if he can do that, then he will be in this job a long time. He's continued to show improvement year on year, and next year should be no different, touch wood.
Hard not to improve from coming last 3 times, though.
But that said, I am on the Benji train.
I think that what I see in Benji is he's a quick learner. It's pretty ridiculous that we made a guy the head coach who had essentially no coaching experience. He was supposed to do a 2-year apprenticeship under Tim Sheens, ended up getting truncated to like 6 months or something, and then suddenly he's a head coach. I think this year he has been very quick to make the adjustments that we think we've seen the need to make. He's reacting in real time very fast. He's moving players. The roster movements that are occurring are the ones that need to happen. Last year, we had a lot of issues getting out of our own end. What do? They went and signed Jarrell Skelton and Sunia Taruva. He's making the right decisions. Him and Shane Richardson, both tactically from week to week, but he's also still making plenty of mistakes. And that's sort of the problem, right? Is that if he had have done an apprenticeship as a coach, he would have seen another head coach making those mistakes and learned that way. By the time he would have come into being his own head coach, he wouldn't have been making those mistakes. So we're having to experience the fallout of that. So he's it's like the first time we've ever seen since the last time the Tigers did it, because I think we had Alan Jones as a bloody coach back in the 80s or something. But we've got an on-the-job trainer as a coach. Why don't we talk about the upcoming game? Let's get on with the match preview.
Yes, indeed. Obviously, Leichhardt was a bit of a graveyard for you blokes, but I think you guys have, beyond 2023, have won there the last few times. How do you feel about...
Last year they won, yeah.
It's always like, was it like, oh my God, Tigers at Leichhardt again? Because it seems to happen every single year. Is it something that you guys roll your eyes at now? Or is it kind of like, okay, we're in with a shout here?
Look, I'll always believe our team can win no matter who we're playing, and Tigers and Leichhardt's just going to be another notch in the belt, really.
Well, now that Jonathan Thurston's no longer at the Cowboys anyway, he couldn't win at Leichhardt.
I think Pete's going 50 plus, aren't you?
Have you guys had a beer with that bloke at all?
Jonathan.
With JT?
No. Where's your spirit now, Thurston? Have you?
Oh, Thurston guy.
I've seen him on the hill. He looks as much like Ben Eichen as he does in those photos, albeit as a methadone addict. But no, I haven't had a beer with him. No.
No, the only iconic Tigers fans that we know are the boys that were captured on the hill booing us off the field during the Tommy Rodonicus game.
Yeah. What was that 28-0 at halftime, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Was that a Cowboys game? Probably.
Was a Cowboys game. Yeah, it was.
There you go. There's another one. I was going to actually ask you guys, like, do the Cowboys fan base consider the Tigers to be like the Cowboys' rival team? Because, like, I know you got the Queensland rivalries, but, like, the amount of, like, ammunition that there is between the Tigers and the Cowboys, Jonathan Thurston's history, the 05, the punch on, the soft whistle, the floggings both ways. Like, there's so much ammunition. It feels to me like the biggest rivalry game that we have as a club, but it doesn't seem like the NRL media get behind it in that way. What about you guys? How do you feel about it as a rivalry?
I think the 05 grand final, since it was 20 years ago, it was a big thing for probably up until we won our grand final in 15. Yeah. It was probably that it was every time Cows and Tigers would play each other. It was always some sting in the game. I remember coming home we were going camping up north, and we came back to watch the game when Matt Barnes slotted that field goal to make it 25-24 in the last 2 seconds of the game. And ever since, like I said, that 05 grand final, it was always a rivalry game up until when we won out 10 years ago, and it sort of has folded away off there. But
I think Broncos have taken over as our rival team.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the games from 2014 through to even now are, they're always a good game to minus a few blowouts here and there, but
Yeah.
it's always been a good match since probably about 2014. So that I think that took over from the Tigers rivalry. The Tigers games they tend to be spiteful. Definitely, you can sort of
And chaotic.
and chaotic. That's right. They do feel that way, and they could go any way at any time. You don't know what's going to happen. Hence that chaotic. But
It could be 60-0 on Sunday, or it could be 12-13. Like, you just don't know.
yeah,
You're absolutely right. Well, how do you blokes see the Cowboys beating the Tigers on the weekend? What's the blueprint? Who do you see as a chink in our armour? How are you blokes winning this game?
Do you even think you can?
Yeah,
geez, we got to sort some errors out before we.
We just pass it to Dearden.
If we can hold the ball,
Just give Dean the ball every
Yeah,
time.
he does like playing us. He plays very
Yeah.
well.
if we can hold the ball and do similar to what the Storm did to you guys early in the year at 64-0 and take Tyrrell May out of the game and just have, like, if Tamalolo and our pack can dominate the likes of Samuel Afainu and Tyrrell May, I reckon that's going to be half your battle, because our outside backs basically rule each other out. You know, you've got Buller on Drinky.
Yep.
You've got Purdue and Leichhardt both playing centre. They're coming up against you guys with Skelton and Taruva. Our halves, you've got Luai versus Dearden. You've got Dewey on Clifford. So our halves, our backs sort each other out.
Yeah.
Appy up against Robson. Appy doesn't want to, Robbo took Appy's Blues jersey. It'll be that 8, 10, 11, 12, and with Cotter thrown in at lock, like, I think that's going to be
Who also
where
plays well against us.
it's gonna go. Yeah, he's like a little pit bull.
Yeah, that's a fair point, and you're absolutely right. There are weeks where our forward pack just lies down and gets whacked, and it can lead to, blowout scores. You referenced 64-0, and you're right. They spot setted Tyrrell May, despite the size of his motor. If he's having to make 3 or 4 tackles a set, it can really, really hurt him. Yeah. It's certainly going to be an interesting one. I think the Leichhardt afternoon sun, whoever utilises it best in terms of their kicking games and putting it right in the sun, could easily force errors. There's errors in both back threes from my perspective, but also in terms of what gets brought off the bench. I see that Vilea's starting in the centres, and Zach Leichhardt will come off the pine rather. Yep. Lawton is a 14, the speed that he can give you blokes around the ruck. Latu Fainu for us playing as a 13, but also like the big boppers like McKaylee, who you guys mentioned is a guy who's really rate. Royce Hunt will come on and do his sort of pinch hit 20 minutes with his 8 hit-ups.
Jordan McLean's got a couple of games left in his career, so him and Tamalolo are going to be...
Oh, has he announced his retirement?
Yeah.
Oh.
Obviously, Johnny will have a point to prove as well, I just realised. So, yeah, it'll be a really interesting game. As you say, it's pretty even across the park. It's just in terms of which team turns up, kicks well, does the effort areas right. Hey.
The weather, you mentioned the Leichhardt sun. The weather can, what's the prediction? Is it sunny and
cold?
Is it overcast?
Sunny on kickoff, mate. Yeah, it's giving way to sun.
How cold is it down there? Is it like 8 degrees at the moment, or?
No, by kickoff it'll be about 17.
Yeah, see, that's not too bad for us, because we train in the heat all year long. Especially in the off season. That's why, if you notice, our starts to the year, even though we might get a couple of day games on a Saturday up here in Townsville, like March, April, we've had to train in it for the whole off season, and it's sappingly brutal. So when we actually play more in the cooler times, it's beneficial to us, because it's like, oh, how good is this? We've got a respite from 4,000% humidity.
Well, I know that you guys need to skedaddle because you got to record your podcast at 6:30, and it would be good if you just stuck around for a bit because it needs to upload. So you'll see on the thing that it says 70% uploaded. If you could just leave it up while it uploads. Before we do wrap it up, though, let's do some predictions. What we like to do here is probably no different to what you guys do every week. Is just go around the room and just predict the score and predict the man of the match. Do you guys want to start?
I'll let Pistol kick this off. He's good at these.
Well, every Tigers game, but especially 2023 when we dusted you 74-0, I won a bit of a packet that night on 51 plus. So
Did you really?
yeah, put some money on that.
And we've never heard about it again.
It's been the only bet win on the pod for 2 years too. But hey, a win's a win.
And
So
it's a fucking good bet. Let's face it.
yeah, I'm going to go Lightning to strike twice again and have Bearden first, second, or third try scorer. Cows 51 plus. Into Drinky Nanai anytime.
Gutsy.
Here I was,
Leichhardt. At Leichhardt Oval.
Here I was thinking 13 plus might be a bit disrespectful, but
51 plus.
Hey! For $10, it pays for itself.
No, that's fine. What about the rest of you?
You can't get a coffee in Leichhardt for $10.
you are absolutely right.
Anybody else over there going to make a prediction?
I'm a little more conservative. I think you're looking probably 24, 22. I think it might be tight, provided the Cowboys can tidy up their error rate. That's been an issue. So if they can tidy that up, I think it'll be tight. Otherwise, I think the Tigers might actually get up in Leichhardt this year. Man of the match, I'm always going to stick by Tommy Dearden. It's hard to go past. He's got the form. So beyond that, I'm not going to predict try scorers or certainly not going to go 51 plus or anything crazy like that. I think it's going to be a lot closer if the Tigers don't get up at all.
Fair enough.
I'm actually tipping the Tigers this week.
You can't say that on your podcast.
I can. I need to win a tipping comp.
Don't worry, mate. Jared tipped Manly last week, so it's all good. You're in good company.
That's disgusting.
Accountability. I'll go. I'll go 32-14 Tigers wagering Buller man of the match.
Yeah, I think that it'll be close, to be honest. I think that it's probably, given the form lines coming into this game, given that it's at Leichhardt, I think a lot of people will be tempted to think the Tigers are going to win this game. But you guys may not know this about us, but we haven't won 3 games in a row since 2018. So it's
on mine too.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, we are playing for a mathematical chance of making the 8, but I gave up on that a while ago. But yes, it seems like a bit of a difficult hump for the Tigers to get over the three wins in a row mark. So I think, as you said, if the Cowboys actually do show up in their best nick, I think it's going to be a really close game. And if it is a really close game, usually at Leichhardt, that does get the home side up just fractionally. And I think with Dewey in the 7, we do have somebody who can sort of win a game in the clutch that we haven't really had lately. So I honestly am feeling like 19-18 West Tigers Dewey field goal, Dewey man of the match kind of result. That feels like a Sunday afternoon Leichhardt Oval Tigers Cowboys score to me. What about the rest of you?
I'm going to go a bit different, although I hope it doesn't come to that because our kicking's a bit flaky sometimes at the end of a game. I'll go 24-18 Cowboys. I reckon man of the match is my boy Dearden. My smoky is Braden Burns, who's on fire lately.
He is.
Great player.
And I'm just going to, quietly, I'm going to go Luai 10 in the bin as well.
Yeah, that's not a bad tip. I think
like earlier in the year.
Yeah, he has been. I'd love to see a bit of fire to this game because I really want the Cowboys to be I want there to be some hate between these two clubs because there's so much good history. I've been making heaps of content. I put up highlights packages all the time, and it seems like whether it's cursed games or whether it's legendary games, it seems like every memorable moment that the Tigers have seems to revolve around the North Queensland Cowboys. So it doesn't seem like you guys feel quite the same way about us, but yeah.
Oh, look, we can make an exception, but I'm actually going to throw out a little extra one. I'm going to put Bateman in for a triple.
Oh.
just to really
Johnny, just quietly, if you chuck up on our YouTube channel, I put up a highlights package of that game the other night, and John Bateman actually carved you guys up that night. I think he scored a try, set one up. Remember when he did that little in and away and unlocked baller? Oh, it was beautiful. But yes, John Bateman can go jump off a cliff as far as we're concerned. We're not big fans of John Bateman.
He's got played with brilliance. It's just there's on the other side of that is a bit of a handbrake in my opinion.
It's a bit sunny up here for him.
Yeah, it's
We call him Master Bateman. Yeah.
Right. Well, early
I
in
call
the
him
year,
that.
we were up strongly, and then you guys came back to make it a good game in the end and almost pinched it on us.
Yeah, and if we had have got home there, we might have still been in the running for the 8. So
But just for those playing along at home, if you go Drinky Did and Nanai Cows 51 plus, it's 2.5 to 1. So
is it? I might have to get on that.
so for a lazy tenner, there's 25k in your kick.
Can you just say that again?
You go Drinky Did and Nanai anytime try.
That's
Cows 51 plus.
yeah. I'll get on. I'll get on in on that. I think if you want to go a Tigers multi, I think that the Cowboys first half lead, Tigers second half lead, Tigers 1 to 12, anytime try score Adam Dewey. That's probably what I would do as a multi.
That's not too bad either.
It's not 2,500 to 1.
Have you met Pistol?
It's not too bad.
For a cup of coffee, $10 in Leichhardt, that's 25 grand. That's a car.
Well-
I had a multi on a Tigers same game multi on a little while ago, and it was I put 50 on it because I do some pretty cooked stuff, and it was the most ridiculous multi ever. What game was that? Do you remember that, Reedy?
It was against the Chooks.
Yeah, when we won. And I needed the Tigers to score one more try at the end to win 18k.
Oh.
And yeah, so I needed the Tigers to score one more try because I had Tigers' last try scorer in the multi. And the Roosters scored with like 10 seconds left on the clock. Right. So when the Tigers kicked off to the Roosters just started tucking the ball around in their in goal to try to score a game-winning try. And I'm like, they're going to throw it to a Tigers player and I'm going to win 18 grand. No, unfortunately not. Alex 12 knocked on. But man, that was the closest I came to a good multi.
Oh.
Well,
as long as you keep going, then you're always in with a chance.
That's how you get out of it, isn't it? You just keep hunting.
Yeah. Bet bigger.
All right, gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. It's been awesome to have you guys. As I said, if you guys wouldn't mind just sticking around so I could upload. Did you want to do a tip as well? There was one more of you that needs to do a tip.
Billy.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, I'll bit of random trivia for you guys that after that 74-0 smashing, one of our fans went out and got a North Queensland Cowboys number plate, like personalised Queensland number plate at 74 NIL.
Yeah.
And
was that you?
And I'm pretty sure I saw a post on this Cowboy Stampede page that it got signed by the playing group too.
Oh,
so
that's
awesome.
Yeah, that $500 number plate became a very, very, very expensive one to any sort of fan. But my tip for the game, I don't know. I'm thinking I've got a thought in my head of a high scoring game.
Okay.
I'm thinking like a 32, 36.
Yeah.
I could see that happening.
Because when I looked at the stats the other day, we were the leakiest team in the comp by a bit.
Oh, it's
So
terrible.
I'm thinking we can score tries and we let a shitload in. So I'm thinking high scoring game, but I can never not back the Cowboys. Probably the only person other than Pistol next to me that's backed them every single week in footy tipping this year.
Me and Rob like to win sometimes.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah,
Well, you got to think reality into existence, right? That's how it works.
support your team no matter
We're
what.
trying to win a prize.
Well, the game earlier in the year was a very high-scoring game, so that's a pretty good tip. And Leichhardt can be a fast track, especially if it's not wet and it's a nice sunny Sunday arvo. Gentlemen, it was a pleasure. Thanks so much for coming on. Why don't we do this again next time the Cowboys play the Tigers? It seems like we could make it an annual tradition or something. What do you reckon?
For
Yeah,
sure.
sounds good.
Absolutely. Sounds like a plan.
And
Love you.
next time I'm up in Townsville for work, I'll drop you a line and maybe we'll catch up.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Thanks so much, gentlemen. That was the On the Ranch podcast, boys. That was our first ever. Oh, I hit the wrong guy. That was our first ever. Get out of here, Rudy. That was our first ever cross podcast collaboration. He's back. Pressed the wrong button.
Beautiful. Make sure you.
That was awesome. Seemed like great dudes.
That was unreal. Give the OTR boys a follow, even if you are an Iron On Tigers fan. They're great fellas, and obviously I love the confidence of Pistol. That's
Pistol's a bit of a larrikin, isn't he?
Yeah, great fella, and he's right. It is $10 for a coffee in Leichhardt, unless you go to Bar Italia and you just get a short black for I think about $3.50, cash only, mind you, cash only. Let's talk pathways. We'll sort of bang the rest of this episode out pretty quick. 42-24 over South. Neither team look like defending because both of their seasons are over. Obviously, we are the much classier side because the Souths at the moment are pretty much resembling a Ron Massey Cup side with all their injuries to their first and second tier squads. What caught your eye?
Before I go into too much detail, we hit the feature. We had 7 wins. We had New South Wales Cup, Jersey Flag, NRLW, which is a miracle, New South Wales Women's Premiership, Ron Massey Cup, Sydney Shield, and the NRL team all won in the same week. I believe, I don't know for sure, I haven't fact-checked this, but considering the NRLW team have won 5 games in their history, I reckon that's the first time that's ever happened. So I'm calling it the most successful club round in the history of the West Tigers.
Respect, and I agree. Ultimately, it was a wonderful week, and we'll talk about those games in a moment. But back on New South Wales Cup, what did you see, mate?
Let me just refresh my memory by bringing up this match list.
Me personally, it was great to see a positive performance from Heath Mason.
I was going to say that, actually. I think Heath Mason played well.
There was a try-saving tackle he made. He looked really threatening with the ball, 16 runs for 178 metres as well, so over 10 metres a run, which speaks to the fact that he would have had him on skates. I thought he looked really comfortable, really confident, and that it just was really refreshing to see him play the way that we know he can. And sometimes it doesn't matter who the opposition is. A lot of the time it's you versus you. And for Heath, I really hope that he can finish the season strongly with a couple of weeks left, and really finish his season on the right note.
Yeah, I thought Heath Mason played good. It was the first time I've seen him play really good for New South Wales Cup. I thought Brent Naden was probably man of the match. Brent Naden as a 6 in New South Wales Cup is a marvel. Like, he is a miracle worker. I don't know what. There's something happened to him early in his career. He's cursed because, like, you watch him play New South Wales Cup and he looks like an out and out first grader. He set up 2 tries. 1 try with the most beautiful cutout pass to Staines. Imagine, like, the ball playing skill you'd have to possess as a 5'8" to put Charlie Staines untouched over at centre.
Yeah, you're right. He is a joy to watch. I think Brent is in the final throes of his West Tigers career, but if they
I hope we bring him back on a training trial or something.
Oh, that'd be amazing. Even if he goes to England for a couple of years, you bring him back sort of 34, 35. I reckon he could play 7, steer the side around. He'd be absolutely amazing at that. But look, I thought the work rate of the backs was really good. Charlie continues to do so. He had 20 runs for 186 metres. 20 runs as an outside back is unreal.
He was involved.
14 runs for 162 metres. Chris Mapps had 11 runs for 120. Luke Laulii, 11 runs for 104. All up around near that 10 metres average carrying mark, which is extremely impressive. So the work rate of those boys and sort of the ability to get our set started in the right way. And then obviously, the class of Naden and Falls, it meant that ultimately, this game, we were always going to win. It was just a matter of by how much, and look, I really feel for South. They've had a lot of injuries, and as I mentioned earlier, this is pretty much a Ron Massey Cup side with the exception of a couple of players, not to mention one, Tim Johansson, who had a wonderful game.
Yeah, he had a good game. I thought Eliel Zackham had a good game for us. I thought Christian Tapau-Moores didn't really get too many minutes, so I didn't get to see much from him in his New South Wales Cup debut, which was a little bit surprising, but let's talk about Flegg.
Okay, let's do so. Just really quickly as well, the Magpies play the Dogs. I think it's 8th versus 9th this week in New South Wales Cup. That game could be anything. I wouldn't be surprised if it's 48-44. I don't think either team's going to be really caring too much about what's going on there. Flegg, a win against South.
A flogging.
A comprehensive one. Max To'a had a hat-trick inside
again
45 minutes.
6 tries in 2 games for Max To'a.
which speaks to how brilliant he's been. But I feel like we're mentioning him every week at this point. But the progression of one Josesi Lanyon, it really goes without saying at this point. What a wonderful player he's developing into.
Yep, and heard that he's signed for the next 2 years at least, which is good. Younger brother James Lanyon signed for the next 3. Also can confirm Logan Daninja signed for the next year, which is good. I think that it's such a shame. Like, the whole club is firing. Like, this flag side, I saw a stat that said that since Shane Sultana came over, we would be running second if the ladder didn't include the games prior to that. So that says it all. And we have beaten multiple sides in the top 4, but we will be missing out on the finals, unfortunately.
Not multiple, my friend. Every team in the top 4 we've beaten.
Yeah, there you go. Every team in the top 4. So they're all counting their blessings that the West Tigers Jersey flag side's not going to be playing in the finals, because they'd be going in probably favourites if they were able to get in there.
Oh, yeah. Look, I'm really excited about this game that they've got against the Dogs this week. We played a game against them at Belmore Oval where Elijah Matale had an absolute cracker, but it was a really interesting one where there was a couple of 12-point turnarounds. The Tigers didn't take their opportunities, but it was a really enthralling end-to-end contest. I think both teams will probably come to play this week, even though neither of them are a chance of the top 5. I'm really, really excited to see what happens. But one thing that we didn't mention is that Phoenix Godinay has graduated now alongside Christian Torpow-Moores onto the extended bench for New South Wales Cup. So they're obviously just trying to give him a look against men, and just before they begin their first proper NRL preseason. And
well, he's not named in the flag side, so I reckon he might sneak into the actual team.
Well, he's Jersey 18, mate, so yeah, there's a fair chance. And he and Marcy Makasini is back on the extended bench for New South Wales Cup, Jersey 19. I know a lot of people were tipping him for a debut this week in the NRL. I didn't think that was going to happen. But
check out the highlight I put up, by the way, on TikTok or Instagram of the Tino Tavana try setup. He set up Stafford To'a, catches the ball above his head, no look pass before he lands. Catches above his head, no look pass before he lands. Tino's also signed up. He's going to be doing he's on an NRL training trial deal. But with the amount of horse trading that's going on in the roster, I wouldn't be surprised if players like Tino, players like Josesi, are the ones that they're kind of trying to find a room to kind of move maybe into dev instead of into training trial roles. It's hard to predict where we're going to be in round 1 next year. But look, honestly, a lot of these Jersey flag players are worth keeping an eye on long term.
With you there, and really, really exciting times. And with 3 weeks to go, I'm really, really excited to see how they go on these final few performances.
Let's look at NRLW and then wrap this thing up, because I don't want to be here for 2 hours like last week.
16-12 win, game of 2 halves. First half we were great, particularly after the Southwell binning. But the second half we were holding on for dear life. There were some great efforts, namely from Togatuki in the dying seconds, to ensure that we won that match.
But then she dropped the bloody ball.
Yes. Mate, the defensive efforts, not the attack.
She was my man of the match, woman of the match. Sorry. I think, you're right. That was crazy, that tackle she made. Like, that was possibly game winning. But then, literally she takes a hit up and takes a tackle. The game ends. She drops the ball. Not only that, she drops the ball straight into the hands of a Dragons player. They then put a nothing kick up with no time left on the clock. Our winger goes in to catch the ball. All she has to do is catch the ball. The game's over. She drops the ball. And not only that, but then Keezy Apps is coming from behind, would have jumped on the ball and killed the play, stone dead. But somebody comes from an offside position and picks up the ball. So we give away a penalty, and the game's still going. And then we just, luck's a fortune, the Dragons get the ball, kick it straight to Caitlin Turnbull, who goes down, and we somehow got out of jail. They were trying to lose so hard in that last 40 seconds. I was losing my mind. Like, watching the NRLW side, I'm so glad they won, honestly, because, it would have been devastating. To lose that game, if they lost that game after what happened there, it would have been utter devastation. But they got out of jail, and hopefully they can build on that. I think Sarah Togatuki was man of the match. I like Caitlin Turnbull at fullback. I think that was a good move. I think she's a better fullback than Faifua. I thought Faifua was good at 6. She scored 2 tries. I kind of like Faith Monero. I think Faith Monero is starting to actually show some signs. She's very new to rugby league, so it's taking a little while. She's got a decent kicking game, and she gets heavily involved. So, yes, I can see Notty's making some moves with the roster and to jag a win against a Dragon side that aren't performing well but have some good names. Like, they've got some good players in that side. Crazy moment, Hannah Southwell getting herself sin-binned and HIA at the same time. Never seen that one before. She got sin-binned but then ruled out with HIA while she was in the sin bin. So that was an interesting one. But, yeah, look, support the NRLW. It's actually a really great game to watch. I get just as emotional and passionate about it as watching the men's game. And the Tigers are just like they are in every bloody league every year. They're underdogs with not enough class. So they need all the support they can get.
Indeed they do. Mate, we tried for Q&A. No one put in any questions besides good old Joel's.
Pack of dogs.
So I'll leave it for you to have your quantum rant, and see out the show, because I'm busting for a piss. See you all on the hill.
Yeah, I don't really have all that much to say. What I will say is I actually really have a lot of confidence. I've gained a lot of confidence in this side over the last month. I think that the players are playing for Benji. I think that they've finally found some combinations that work. I think Lachlan Galvin disrupted this year something fierce, and God knows where we'd be if he didn't. If we had to have let him go at the end of last year and went into the off season and built combinations with Dewey, built combinations with Fainu, or if he stayed, I think you're looking at a top 8 side this year, which is a shame. It means we're going to have to go back to the drawing board in the off season. I know that there is still a mathematical chance of making the 8. I think that there's more chances of seeing pigs fly. But where there's life, there's hope, I suppose. But what I do believe is that next year, this is it. It's gonna happen. I have immense faith. There is something building. Something's changed. I think Benji's grown in confidence. I think Benji's making good choices. I think we're bringing in some good young talent. I was a little worried earlier in the year that we weren't going to be able to flood the NRL side with pathways, but then the Flegg side showed up and they started actually smashing it. And now we're seeing players like Jared Haywood and Logan Brooks and Tino and even Iverson Matai, who got a shout out from on Instagram. There's a nice highlight reel up on the small, I forget what its name. There's a pathway centric Instagram account up there that's got a good Iverson Matai highlight reel. So have faith. I think it's coming. I think we're going to have a really good off season. The players seem like they're playing for one another. They've bought in, and I'm confident for next year. So up the West Tigers. Up the West Tigers, faithful. I hope you all who go out to Leichhardt stay safe. Slip, slop, slap, and manifest us a win. Peace out, legends. This has been the West Tigers faithful. Hello there. We're going to keep recording, but we're going to record some content for the gram. So you guys can all bail if you want, because it's going to be pretty boring unless you just want to hang around and you really don't have that much of a life. But look, we took the hint. Last week we did some general NRL content and stuff, and I don't think our regulars liked it very much, so we kept it out of the main podcast. But we're going to do it now. So let's do some tips, Reedy. Let's start with the Thursday night game. Who's on Thursday night this week?
We have South and the Dragons. South's home game, so it'll be played out at Acor. Not much more left to say apart from that. I thought Souths were really courageous on the weekend. Good win against a Parramatta side that I had tipped and expected to do better. And the Dragons were valiant in a game where they had 3 middle forwards knocked out against the Warriors. I like the Dragons in this one. I think they'll get it done. In terms of score, I think they probably win this one 24-18.
Well, the Dragons are paying $2.
Well, there you have it. South's favourite. It's interesting. Well, I'm going outside.
Souths are the favourites somehow in that game, which blows my absolute mind to pieces, because the Dragons, if they didn't have 3 HOs in the first half, would have beaten the Warriors. They were so unlucky. The Warriors did not show up. I know I tipped the Dragons in an upset last week and it didn't come off because bloody 3 HOs. They're playing most of the game with 1 sub. I think the Dragons are going to fustigate them. I think the Dragons are immoral. If South can win this game with the players that they have out, it'd be amazing. Dragons 30, South 12. Panthers versus Raiders on Friday night at 6 p.m. That's a good one. Wow. Grand final preview, maybe?
Oh, I don't know about grand final preview, but I think it's the best 6 o'clock time slot game I've seen since Spoon Bowl and then before then ever. I like Penrith in this one. They lost last week. They'll be even more desperate. They're going to try and sort of round up a top 4 spot before then. And I think the Raiders are probably in that period where they might have a couple of shaky weeks before they really sort of tune up before finals. I'll go Penrith. I'll go 16-12 in a tight one. Man of the match for me, I'm going to say Liam Martin.
Oh, yes, I forgot to do man of the match. Did you do man of the match in the previous game?
No, but I'll say Gutho.
Yeah, okay. My man of the match for that game is... I'm going to go with Lids, Jacob Little. All right, in the Friday night game, Panthers versus Raiders, we want to hope that the Raiders win because we're playing them next week, and I don't want to play them coming off a loss. I don't want to play them in Canberra coming off a loss. But I do think that the Panthers should win. It's not really a Panthers home game. It's in Mudgee. It's probably kind of, if anything, would favour the Raiders, I'd suspect. You'd probably see more Raiders fans travelling up to Mudgee. They're used to travelling up to Penrith anyway, and Mudgee's probably an easier burn for them than going to Penrith. So, yeah, it should be a very good game. Penrith, they kind of... They lost on the weekend, didn't they? They got beaten by the Storm that were underdone. Sorry, Storm missing Pappenhausen at Hughes. So I don't know. Actually, I'm going to talk myself into a Raiders tip here. I think the Raiders are going to win this one. I think Ethan Strange, man of the match. Ethan Strange, also, I reckon he's good for an anytime try scorer in this one. I'm going to go 20-18 the Raiders. The Friday night game, another bloody good one. Storm versus Bulldogs. Who you got?
Tipping an upset. I think that Canterbury seem to be dragged through the media one week and then they're the media's darlings the other. I think this is a week where they'll end up being the latter. They had a game last year that Phil Gould always talks about where they played Melbourne in Melbourne, where they thought midway through the season, we can do something this year. I think that this will be a little bit of a reminder for them of the team that they are. And once again, with no Pappenhausen and no Hughes, I know Melbourne are an entirely different beast to other teams when they have half their spine out. But nonetheless, I think it will hurt them this week. As much as it pains me to say it, I've got the Bulldogs winning this one. I'm going to say 18-14. Man of the match, Stephen Crichton.
Okay. I think the Storm are going to flog them. I think that the Dogs are done. I think that the pressure has cracked them. I think that the Bulldogs overachieved most of the year. I think that losing last week was not a good sign. I think that if they were a team that's capable of beating Melbourne in Melbourne, they would not have got pasted by the Roosters. I think that all signs to me, I think that the line's where it should be, $1.48 for the Storm, $2.67 for the Bulldogs. I think the Storm win. I think the Storm win well. I think Lachlan Galvin's gone into his shell. I think that is he even playing? He is, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, so they've kept him in the side again. Toby Sexton's 19th man at this stage. Look, Melbourne too strong. I'm going to go with who do I think? Ryan Pappenhausen's on the extended bench. Do you reckon he'll actually come back into the side? If Ryan Pappenhausen comes back into the side and plays, I think he'll be man of the match, and I'm tipping Storm to win 28, Bulldogs 16.
Love it.
Saturday game, Sea Eagles versus Dolphins. This has big implications for the West Tigers this game because we need both these teams to lose, especially the Dolphins. But obviously they can't both lose. So I think Wests need Manly to win. Big time need Manly to win. What do you think's going to happen?
Great question. If Manly couldn't get up last week in a game where they were actually still a genuine chance for the 8th, then they're not going to get up for this one. I think that the Dolphins, more than anything, they were in the 8th for 3 weeks and were in charge of their own destiny, and then got walloped by the Chooks, and then were in the driver's seat against the Broncos and just couldn't get it done. I think this is the week they do get it done. I think it's too late for both these sides ultimately. But I've got the Dolphins coming down to Sydney and winning this one. I'm going to say 28-10.
Cool. Tough, eh? I think that all signs point to the Dolphins winning, but the Dolphins don't travel well, and they're playing at Four Pines. I think Manly might have. You might be right. I think if Manly lost last week, I think that they might be looking at the exits. I think a lot of those players are probably already looking towards the off-season. And I think that the Dolphins genuinely, they played really well against the Broncos and just ran out of legs. They nearly beat them. The Broncos had to really fire on all cylinders in that second half to get over the top of the Dolphins. And the Dolphins obviously were without Herbie. Were without Herbie. Moving Hammer to center was a really good move. I thought Trey Fuller had a really good game. Yeah, I think the Dolphins will be too strong. I think the Dolphins win this one probably. Actually, the Dolphins, when they win, they always rack up points, don't they? I think it's almost a safe bet to say that if the Dolphins win, they'll probably put 40 on them. I'm going to go Dolphins 44, Manly 16. I'm going to go Dolphins. You laugh at me, but I mean, there's logic to it. When was the last time the Dolphins won a game without freaking racking up points? I'm going to go man of the match. Oh, they've got Hammer back at fullback. I go man of the match, JMK, Jeremy Marshall King. Shops at my local butcher, Roadie Meats. Go JMK, go Roadie Meats. Up Roadie Meats. Let's go. Next game, what else we got? Titans versus Warriors, Saturday, 23rd of August, 5:30 p.m. Seabus Super Stadium.
I actually think this is going to be a tougher game to tip than what people think. The Titans are sort of going up and down, and they got walloped last week, but apparently Des got the players to conduct their own video session this weekend. That could go one of two ways. Obviously, the Warriors top 4 looking to cement it, playing last place. But if the Titans come out with some intent, they can blow anyone off the park. That said, I do think the Warriors will get this one done. I'd say it'll be around, I'm going to say 34-22. I would have my man of the match as I'm going to go Aaron Clark, who I've been a big fan of this year.
Yeah, he's a low key chance for signing of the year.
Yes, with you there.
What do I think? I think the Warriors are going to jag it. I think that it's going to be real tight. I think that they're going to make it look real hard. But I just don't think that the Titans have a win in them. I think that the Warriors are just going to find something. I think that I have a feeling we're going to get a little bit of subversion of expectations, though. I kind of feel like the Warriors are probably going to click and attack a little bit, but the Titans will probably also. It's 28-20 Warriors over Titans is probably where I'm going to go. 28-20. Man of the match, I will go with. I'm going Go. Actually, I think Aaron Clark's a good bet. That's a pretty good man of the match tip, really.
It's against his old club too, so
But I can't have it. I can't steal your man of the match, so I'm going to have to go with my own. I'm going to go man of the match here. Dallin Watini-Zelezniak scoring a hat trick. How about that? That's my man of the match tip. But it's actually Aaron Clark. I think that's a really good tip. 7:35 p.m. game on Super Saturday is the Eels versus the Roosters.
yes, this is the game that we really need Parramatta to stand up, but regrettably, I don't think it'll happen. The Roosters have got the tails up, they're in form, their forward pack are humming, and off the back of it, Sam Walker, who is just incredible to watch every single week, continues to deliver. Junior Tupou making his club debut for the Roosters, so that'll be interesting to watch. Another former Tiger about the league, but
Who featured heavily on that highlight reel I spoke about before.
yes.
He scored 2 tries that night. Remember that try he scored where he came in from the wing and just like ran in field and just smashed everybody?
Yes, he is a genuine raw talent, special talent. But whether or not he works it out and realises his potential is another thing entirely. That said, I think the Parramatta will go with the Chooks more than what people think, but I think that the Roosters will probably score a couple of late ones to really push it beyond doubt. I've got the Roosters. Sam Walker doesn't miss goals, so they go up in sixes. I'll go about 30. I'll go 30-12 in favour of the Chooks.
In 6 appearances thus far this year, Sam Walker has 14 try assists. Do you know how many try assists and appearances Jerome Luai has had this year?
And Jerome Luai would have had about 21 appearances, I would say, maybe a little bit less. And I would say around 7 try assists, 8 try assists. Probably.
18 and 9. So
Okay.
Jerome Luai's averaging half a try assist a game, a try assist every 2 games. Sam Walker's averaging 1 million. Anyway, just some food for thought. Sam Walker, what a freak. Also, is this the first time a Tupu has ever dropped out of a side to be replaced by a Tupu? I'm going to back in that it is. Somebody ask Middleton. Because Daniel Tupu out, Junior Tupu in. Usually this would mean that, some other young talent that the Roosters have just uncovered, some clone version of Daniel Tupu, but this is the ex-West Tiger Junior Tupu. So, yeah, it's interesting. To follow in a tradition of West Tigers outside backs that couldn't hack it here, that went to the Roosters and started playing a fair few games. Junior Ponga, the one before him that I forgot the name of. Who was the other one?
I don't remember.
There was another one. Anyway, there was another one that went over there for a little while. Oh, Momirovski. Yeah, him.
Well, he went the other. He did go back to the Roosters, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
There,
Yeah.
back. Yeah.
Anyway, I digress. Eels. Yeah. I don't know. I think the Roosters get it. I think the Roosters are going to win this one. I think they'll win. I think Mitchell Moses will have a much improved performance, though. I think he'll make it tougher than people think. I don't see the Roosters thrashing them. I'm going to go Roosters 30-18. Man of the match. I'm going to go. Excuse me. Teddy. Let's go, Teddy. Man of the match.
Very nice. Last one.
Yeah, last one. Actually, we'll do our own as well because we didn't. That way, we can just do it all in one segment. Knights versus Broncos, Sunday, 2 p.m.
Okay, this is going to be a drubbing. I think that the Broncos have learnt very quickly how to play without their 2 first choice halves, and Reece Walsh is really coming into his own after a pretty checkered season, as far as I'm concerned. I think that they will win this one and win well. I'm going to go something along the lines of 48-10 in favour of the Broncos.
That's a flogging at McDonald Jones. McDonald Jones should be a real fortress for the Knights, isn't it? But it doesn't feel like a very hard place for away teams to play. It's yeah, I think I agree. Broncos are going to struggle with that Gachevsky, mate. He brings some serious firepower to the Broncos. Gachevsky. I don't know how they're going to find a replacement for Jack Gachevsky. I think Gachevsky was unlucky to miss out on a Blues jersey this year. Yeah.
Right. That was what a great attempt at humour. I'll never forget. I'll never forget Grzeszewski getting absolutely fucking dog walked by Sione Finu.
What a great attempt at humor. It just buries me. Play along, Reedy. Jesus Christ. Just cut me to pieces live
Sorry, mate, I was
for the
thinking
world
too-
to see.
I was thinking too literally then.
Anyway, I think the Broncos are going to win and win well. Yeah, mate, I think your score might even be a little bit conservative, to be honest.
True.
I reckon they might get 60. Yeah, no, I'm going to go Broncos 60, Newcastle 4. And Reece Walsh man of the match. And the final game of the round is our boys, the West Tigers, versus the Cowboys at the eighth wonder of the world, Leichhardt Oval, at 4:05 p.m. What you got?
It'll be played at 4:05 p.m. and the 2005 theme will ring true. 05 kit for the Tigers, playing at the eighth wonder of the world, our spiritual home, which I'm more than happy to say, even despite the fact that I'm on the West Tigers, West Magpie side of the ledger. In true form, I'm going to say 30-16. We're going to beat the Cowboys in true 2005.
I see you there.
Yeah.
We're going to get a Terrell May or Alex Twell try at the death.
Yep, I think that's
Alex-
what we're going to get.
Alex Twell, last try scorer?
Yeah, I would love to see that. That'd be paying a mozza. And the number 7, Adam Dewey, will be the man of the match, just like Scott Prince was on the night.
Yeah, I've got Adam Dewey man of the match too. I got a close one, 19-18 Tigers. I think it's going to be a hell of a game. I think that the Cowboys are going to show up, and I think the Tigers are going to give us an absolute heart attack. I see another Adam Dewey field goal match winner here. I see it in my mind's eye. That was our match previews. That's the end of the show. Thanks for joining us this week, everybody. Thanks for sticking around. For those who watched the potty and then watched us record some tips. And yeah, those Cowboys boys were pretty sweet, Morgan. I didn't mind them. They were good blokes. So I wouldn't mind going up to North Queensland and having when we play up there, might go up there and maybe do some live game content or something like that with them. Check you later, Jared. Check you later, everybody.
See you guys.